Good morning, students. I hope you all are doing well. Today, we are going to discuss unit number 1, that is English language teaching in India. In this lecture, we are going to discuss the intricate journey of English language teaching in our country. We will discuss its origin from colonial instrument to its current status as global lingua franca. Dear students, how many of you speak more than one language at home or with your friends? Some of you must be speaking Hindi, Awadhi, Bhojpuri, Punjabi, Sindhi, Haryanvi, Rajasthani language, Gujarati, Tamil, Bengali, etc. But when you go to college, you study many subjects in English. Have you ever wondered why English is so important in our country today? This is exactly what we are going to discuss in this lecture. Dear students, English is actually not an Indian language originally. It came to India during the British colonial period, let's say around 200 years ago. At first, the Britishers introduced English mainly for their own administrative purposes. But something very interesting happened over time. Indians began to use English in their own ways. For example, they used English for education, for communication, and even for expressing their ideas, their views about freedom. So, dear students, you might have observed that English has become one of the common languages in our country. So, in many ways, the story of English in India is not just about language, it is about our history, about culture, politics, and overall our identity. My dear students, now let us go back in time to around 19th century when India was ruled by the Britishers. The British government had a very practical problem. This practical problem was related to the huge country that is India with many languages and regions. And the British officers found it very difficult to control this country. And they needed people who could help them run the administration in this country. In a way, I should say, they needed people who could write reports for them, who could maintain official records, who could translate documents, and who could communicate orders. So they started promoting English education in India. A very important moment came in 1835. You must have remembered, students, I have referred the name, the Macaulay, in our lecture. So, in 1835, a British official named Thomas Macaulay, he suggested that higher education in India should be given in English. You must be wondering, was he really interested in teaching Indians his language? My dear students, his idea was to create Indians who could help the British government in administration. Let us see this scenario from this angle. Imagine a British official working in India and he cannot understand the local languages very well. So, what he does, he trains some Indian people in English. These students become clerk, teachers, and government assistants. And gradually, this official created a new group of English educated Indians. And these people started working in offices, courts, schools, colleges. So at this stage, English was mainly an administrative language, and this language helped the Britishers control and manage India as a colony. But unknowingly, they were also opening the doors to new knowledge, new books, new ideas, and new culture from around the world. Now, something very surprising happened in history. The same language that the Britishers introduced later became a tool against British rule. Dear students, we all know India has hundreds of languages, and if leaders from different regions wanted to discuss national issues to the world, what language could they use? For them, English became the common language. Leaders from different parts of our country could communicate with each other through English. For example, many famous leaders wrote and spoke in English. For example, Jawaharlal Nehru, Mahatma Gandhi, and Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar. They used this language to explain India's problems to the world. So, this language that once represented colonial power slowly became a language of debate, protest, and national unity. And, dear students, this teaches us an interesting lesson in history. What is this lesson? The lesson is sometimes people take a tool given by power and transform it into a tool of resistance. Dear students, we all know India became independent in 1947, and after independence, Indian leaders had to make an important decision. And this decision was related to this language. They were confused. They had this dilemma that should India remove English completely or should it continue using it? And there were different opinions. Some people believed English was a colonial language and should be removed, while others felt that English was still very useful for them. So finally, India decided to keep English but change its role. English now had three important functions. The first function was instrument of education. So post-independence, English language teaching was re-envisioned to serve national objectives, fostering intellectual growth and access to global knowledge. The second role was in the government and administration. English retained its pivotal role in governmental functions, ensuring continuity and efficiency in national administration. And the third role was the linking language. English acted as a link language in our country, it bridging linguistic divides across India's diverse regions and communities. So we can say that after independence, English language teaching underwent a significant reorientation. Let us now look at modern India. Today, English plays a very important role in education, technology, and our professional life. Nowadays, Indian students are applying for jobs abroad. They are applying for further studies in abroad, and they find English as a window to the world because this language is giving them an opportunity to expose themselves to the world. This is why many parents in India prefer English medium schools nowadays. Uh, Even English is very important in industries like information technology, business, international trade, and scientific research. So I would rather say that English today often acts as gateway to global opportunities. And for many young people, learning English means access to better education, better jobs, and wider career options. However, the spread of English also creates some challenges in front of us. My dear students, one of the major problems that Indian learners face is inequality. You might have observed that students in big cities often have access to good English education, while students in rural areas sometimes do not get the same kind of opportunities. So, English can sometimes create a gap between students. Another concern in front of the Indian students is about Indian languages and culture. Our country has a very rich linguistic heritage, and we have many languages in our country that carry centuries of literature, poetry, story, culture, knowledge, etc. And some linguists worry that if English becomes too dominant, younger generation may start ignoring their mother tongues. And we can see this impact in Gen Zs. So the real challenge for India is how to balance between English and the Indian languages. Students, so in order to solve this issue, students
for
should
paying
learn
attention.
English.
For global
We will meet
communication.
again in the next
And
lecture.
parallelly, they
Till
should
then, thank you
respect
so
and
much.
preserve their own languages.
Because, my dear students, a healthy education system encourages multilingual learning. So, in this lecture, we have learned this story of English in India and how English has gone through several stages. First, English came as a colonial language used for administration. Later on, it became a practical link for political debates and national unity. And at the third stage, English was used for education, government, and communication. So, dear students, today English plays a major role in globalization, technology, and culture, career opportunities. So, we as English students should learn this language for for global exposure, and we also should learn respecting our mother language and other Indian languages because beta when all the languages coexist like this, we can enrich our culture and we can present our culture, our knowledge system in front of the world canvas. With this, I thank you for paying attention. We will